Here's 50 amazing facts to blow your mind, part 2. According to astronauts, space smells like diesel fuel mixed with barbecue. And this is thought to be because of dying stars. In one lifetime, the average person will walk around the world 5 times. I am not one of those people. In 1895, the top speed of the first American car race was 7 miles an hour. Off the coast of Connecticut, there is an island owned by Dean Carman, the inventor of the Segway. Despite the island not being recognized as separate from the US, the island has its own constitution, flag, currency, and navy, despite the navy being made up of just one boat. And Dean Carman also refers to himself as Lord Dumpling. The Russian word for water is voda, which means that when you say the Russians drink vodka like water, they also kind of spell it the same way, so maybe they're ordering wrong. Maybe they want water and you keep giving them vodka. There is an artist called Brian Lay who has the ability to draw in negatives. In 2010, a man got lost in northern Saskatchewan, and in order to draw attention to himself, he started chopping down power lines, and it worked. When you listen to music, occasionally you may get chills. The pleasure you get from listening to music is caused by the brain releasing dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that causes pleasure. The first recorded time OMG was used was in 1917, and it was a letter to Winston Churchill. The first African American to win the Nobel Peace Prize was Ralph Bunche in 1950 for his meditation work in Israel, and he was also involved in the formation of the United Nations. Oranges are green when they're ripe. Scientists remove the chlorophyll so that they are more appealing to North American consumers. There is a dog called Faith who was born with no front legs. However, Faith learned to walk on her hind legs, and now Faith and the dog's owner traveled to military hospitals to demonstrate that even a dog with a severe disability can live a full life. In the early 1990s, Great Britain had a cones hotline so that citizens who found cones on the road for no reason could phone up and report them. However, after about 3 years, it was disbanded because almost nobody called it. A man from New Jersey flunked out of law school and then sued them for accepting him in the first place. Something tells me that they taught him too much. Ocean liner stewardess Violet Jessup was on board during the 3 largest ship sinkings in history: the Titanic, the Britannic, and the Olympic. New York City's oldest house is a cottage in Queens near LaGuardia Airport. It was built in 1654 by the Rikers family, the same family that gave Rikers Island its name, and there is a family cemetery in the back garden. Barbed wire was invented in 1845 and was largely responsible for putting cowboys out of business because it was a cheap and affordable way to fence off an area. The Waldorf Astoria Hotel once had its own private railway track at Grand Central. Although it is abandoned now, it still operates when the president visits, just in case there is the need for an emergency exit. Back in 1880, the first town in the US to be completely lit by streetlights was Wabash in Indiana, which had a population of only 320 people at the time. Coffee was so influential back in early Turkish culture that the word for breakfast literally translates to before coffee, and the word for brown literally translates to the color of coffee. Women constitute 70% of Iranian university science and engineering students. 133 days is the longest that anyone has ever survived on a shipwrecked raft, which was done by a Chinese man named Pon Lin. He survived by fishing, drinking bird's blood, and even killed a shark with a jug of water, and then lived his life until the age of 72. In Japanese myth, there is a creature called the Ashiri Yashiki, which is a dirty foot, which will demand that you clean it, and if you don't, it will rampage through your house. The Canadian Post Office has assigned a postal code to the North Pole, which is HOHOHO, and anyone can write a letter to Santa Claus, and the letter will be replied to, written in the language that the letter was sent in. And every year, more than 1 million letters are sent to Santa Claus. In the 1770s, British Parliament passed a law condemning lipstick, stating that any woman found guilty of seducing a man by cosmetic means into matrimony would be tried for witchcraft. A single strand of hair can hold 3 ounces of weight. This means that the typical full head of hair could support up to 12 tons. In order to become a London black cab driver, one is expected to know 25,000 roads, 50,000 points of interest, in order to pass a test called the Knowledge, which usually takes 34 months to prepare for. Scientists of Cornell University have created a functioning guitar the size of a single blood cell. There is a 34-year-old chimpanzee called Kenzie that knows how to start a fire and cook food, which includes cooking omelettes for himself. And I'm sure they probably even come out better than mine, to be fair. I like a good omelette, and I can make omelette. They're not that good. A butt was a medieval unit of measurement. Technically, a buttload of wine is 125 gallons. Globally, only 2% of the world's population have green eyes. I bet that would be interesting using a green screen with green eyes. Why is it always like you're looking through me? In Jakarta in Indonesia, there is a spa called Bali Heritage Reflexology and Spa, which they use pythons placed all over the customer's body as a massage treatment. I'm fine, thank you very much. The average bolt of lightning contains enough energy to toast 100,000 slices of bread. A British research study showed that watching a horror film before observing art increased the enjoyment of it. Why we study these things, I don't know. In Tunisia, you can book an overnight stay at Luke Skywalker's boyhood home, which is a real hotel called Hotel Sidi Driss, for only $10. In 2005, an Australian research institute published a study on the loss of teaspoons in a workplace, and I thought the British researchers were strange. There is a lake in the country of Palau called Jellyfish Lake, where the jellyfish have evolved to have no stingers. The jellyfish are completely harmless to humans, and you can swim with them. Tap water in Canada is regulated to a much higher standard than bottled water, so get it from the tap. Roughly 500 people are struck by lightning every year, and about 90% of them survive. In 1947, considered to be one of the greatest boxers of all time, Sugar Ray Robinson backed out of a fight because he had a dream that he was going to kill his opponent. After being convinced to fight his opponent, he actually did kill him. In 2011, the Cobble family lost their 3 children in a car accident, 2 girls and 1 boy. 1 year later, the mother gave birth to triplets, 2 girls and 1 boy. Researchers from Heidelberg University Hospital have determined that it takes 6 minutes for alcohol to affect brain cells. The highest scoring soccer game in history, according to the Guinness Book of Records, was back in 2002 in Madagascar, and the score was 149-0. It happened because one of the teams started scoring against themselves to protest a bad call from the referee. Sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia is the scientific name for a brain freeze. In 2013, in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, there is a truck permanently cemented in the ground because the owner refused to move it. Jupiter's magnetosphere is larger than our sun's magnetosphere because the sun's kind of chaotic. It doesn't come from one end and into the other, it's just sort of chaos, whereas Jupiter, our largest planet, has a very large magnetosphere which stretches out to Saturn when they're aligned. It had nothing to do with me, but the year I was born, in 1992, 29,000 rubber ducks were lost at sea, and they are still being discovered in the strangest of places. In 1967, Hans Steininger had only one thing you didn't, Sergeant Angel: a great big bushy beard. He did have the world's longest beard at 4.5 feet long, and he died by accidentally stepping on it and breaking his neck. Now I kind of feel bad for the Hot Fuzz reference there, but oh well. Deceased North Korean leader Kim Jong-lee's biography states among his achievements are a 38-shot round of golf, the ability to control the weather, being the creator of the hamburger, and the need to never go boom boom. Yeah, pooping. Never poops. That's kind of worse. I mean, like, he just builds up inside of him. Or does he just puke it out instead? I mean, like, it's got to go somewhere. The Sahara is only going through a dry period at the minute, and is expected to be green again in 15,000 years. Anyway, there's your 50 amazing facts for this time. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, click the like button, and if you didn't like it, then click the dislike button, you know, twice, just to make sure. And I'll see you around next time for another video. Have a great day.